floor. And people have come up and they've touched on some phenomenal things. And, oftentimes people have seen where we have ended up on our journey. And often they ask us, a lot of young people who are going on their journey, how did you end up where you're at? And it's often thought immediately, just because we was raised in a particular environment with our elder, Dr. Sabi and Mama Pill and everything, they think automatically, oh, that's where you guys started your journey. And that's not necessarily the case. You know what I'm saying? That was one part of the journey. Okay, I met Dr. Sabi at the age of 5. And about 19 to 20 years later, I found myself coming right out of these streets. When I say out of these streets, I'm literally talking about on this block, around the corner. We were in the streets of Bed-Stuy and Flatbush, Brooklyn, from the age of 14, for me, all the way up until the age of 25 almost, right? And I had an inner calling, I had an urging, I had something that was pulling at me, saying, look, you've experienced this level of your education, now it's time to go to college. It's time to go to a higher education. You got street knowledge. I came out of the streets traumatized based on the things that I saw right on these blocks. You know what I'm saying? Very much traumatized. And it's the thing that the inner urging in you is pulling you towards not only necessarily consciousness, but healing. Right? It's the healing. So you got the herbs, you got the this, but not all the time can that do the job. You know what I'm saying? Herbs can't necessarily heal some of the things that you've seen with your eyes, some of the pain that you have in your heart. You understand? So I started moving more so towards metaphysics. And the year was 2000, right? And I was searching. I'm not gonna say that I was lost, but I was still searching. I was yearning for something more. I didn't exactly know what it was called. I didn't know what it was gonna look like. I just knew to follow my inner urgings. So I run into an elder who knew us since we was about the age of 7 or 8, right? This elder's name was Robert Small, and everything that I'm about to tell you is very serendipitous, and it all comes full circle, even like right in this very room today, okay? Because that's how the spirit works. So the elder name was Robert Smalls, right? Robert Smalls also happens to be Polite's teacher. This is before New Polite, before we knew anything about anything, right? This is just how spirit works. So the elder says, look, I want to bring you to a brother's house that I know who has information that might help you, right? He just wanted to put me in front of other elders that I can learn from and have an appreciation for, just to break, once again, all of the trauma that I had just experienced for damn near 2 decades in the street, right? So he brings me to an elder named Lester Loving.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? Brings me to an elder named Lester Loving. Lester Loving is a genius, a scientist, right? So Lester Loving was the very first person that I met that told me, when I came into his house, right, it was like the AC was on, but there wasn't no AC. Wow. So I was like, what the hell? Like, what's going on? Because it was baking outside. It was a summer day. But you came in the house and it felt like it was almost lower than 60 degrees. He had water bottles placed all around the house, right? And he had pyramids in the corner of the ceilings. So I'm like, what the hell is this? So he starts explaining to me the scientific alchemical process of how he was creating conductors, utilizing these bottles that he would paint copper on the outside, and then he would wrap copper around quartz and put it in water, and that was creating cooling conductivity. You understand?
Wow.
So the inner nerd in me, I'm like, I'm in 5th grade again. You dig what I'm saying? I'm gonna have an opportunity to live this out. And I'm gratified because nobody ever shows you where the children in class that used to be the science experiment specialist. What happened to them? Where they at? The dudes used to make the little volcanoes and stuff like that.
Yeah, what happened to them?
What happened to them? You never seen them again. So I'm seeing a grown version of that. So I'm excited. I'm like, okay, I'm willing to learn. So now he's telling me about, right? So just everything that I just told you in that one little experiment opened a whole new world for me. Because now I'm learning about conductivity based on copper and quartz. I'm learning about alkaline water because he was naturally alkalizing his water, right? So he starts telling me about that. All right, I'm skipping a little, right? The reason that I even sought out Robert Smalls, the elder, I had a conversation with him because I was having an experience that I couldn't quite explain. There was lights following me around, right? All the way up in the sky. Now I was like, I know I done some dirt in the street, but I don't think the man, right, is allocating resources to have satellites follow me around. I didn't do dirt on that level, right? Takashi shit was wasn't Takashi 44. I could not understand why there was a light all the way up in the sky. They used to follow me almost everywhere that I was going. And I didn't have nobody to talk to about this. This was 2000, right? We had just came back from LA, right, visiting Sabi and my mother, and we met an elder out there named Modog.
Yeah.
Now, this elder changed my life, you know what I'm saying? Because he was the one that was having wild extraterrestrial experiences. He took us to Venice Beach and we seen a reptilian. That's a whole nother story.
That's a fact.
Right? Changed my life.
That's
So
a fact.
he gave us a bunch of books and VHSs and told me to listen to Coast to Coast AM with Art Bell. Okay? So now I'm deep diving. My initiation is going quick. In 2000, this was my Y2K, right? So my mind was already open and receptive to engage and entertain things that wasn't considered quote unquote normal because I grew up with a man who cured AIDS, right? At a time when everything on the TV was telling me otherwise, right? So I was already shattered from that. Like, you couldn't tell me that there was things going on that the government wasn't telling us, because I already knew that. In my household, I was trained like that, and I had experienced things in my own life. I had experienced things in the courtroom that prepared me for when I met the Moors. I was prepared for all of this because I had already had real life experiences. So I'm seeing the lights. I got the information. I seen the reptilian. Like, all of this stuff is going on that once again, I can't talk to the toughest dudes that I know. I can't talk to the killers. I can't talk to, you know what I mean, the people that everybody looks up to. I can't even talk to the people that I consider academics, the smart people that I knew. My father's an English professor. I couldn't talk to him. So I ended up talking to this elder. He brings me to Lester Loving. But then he tells me, look, this is just your introduction. You understand? You got to look into this man named Dr. Delbert Blair. And I was like, who? He said, Dr. Delbert Blair. So then now, Robert Small starts sharing his experience that he had in the 50s, right? When he was a youth. And his experience dealt with something like he was on the back road, driving, and, you know, he seen the lights, and then he seen the entities. You know, he seen the lights, then he seen the ship, then he seen the entities in the ship. And he said that they was melanated entities with afros. Okay? Now, I had never heard anything like this, but I was ready for that, right? Because it was just something in me was just like, I don't buy the green people, and you know what I'm saying? Like, I did not buy that, and there was something in me that was stirring from like when I was a youth that I felt commonality towards what you would call extraterrestrials, right? So I was ready for it. I was like, I'm here for this. Tell me more. They got afros? So he's like, yeah, and you know, my story is such and such, but you know, Dr. Delbert Blair has a much more well-documented story than I do. So I was like, I got to meet this Dr. Blair. You understand? And before I left Lester Lovin's house, he gave me a piece of magnetite, right? And he told me, he said, and the magnetite was in the shape of a tetrahedron. No, it was an octahedron, I believe. And he said, look, this comes from some of the oldest matter on the planet. It was the first formation when the earth formed. I didn't know if that was real or not, but I was there for it. I believed. And he said, if you hold it in your hand, because it's magnetite, whatever that you want to materialize, you know, I don't want to say wish for it, but invoke it. You know what I'm saying? So, once again, you know, I grew up on all of the exciting movies, right? Stand By, you know, all of the Daredevil, adventurous movies. So I'm here for all of that. And I'm like, okay, let's try this thing out. I had just finished watching a VHS one night, and they was talking about entities and extraterrestrials and what have you. So it was like 2:30, 3 in the night. I think I might have sparked something. Right? And I lived in the attic, so I got in the window and I held that thing in my hand, and I was very intentional about what I wanted to appear, right? I was clear. I had already knew about invocation. I knew that you had to be deliberate. I was almost commanding. I was not praying. I was, look, the shit is out there. I need to see it now. Right? And not too long after that, I had saw like what was being like lights. You know what I'm saying? I seen lights coming down in like a cloud formation. And that was it for me. I was like,
give the elder a round of applause before she leaves.
Yes.
You set up at Trader Joe's.
I'm from
She's from Trader Joe's.
any day except Saturday and Sunday.
so you be out there tomorrow? I'll come see you.
I'm good.
All right. So, you know, I seen the lights and what have you, and that was enough to me to prove to me what I needed to see. I was like, I don't need to see the rest. You know what I'm saying? You know, I had to take it in steps. I was like, that's enough to prove to me that what's being told to me is real, right? And I wanted to know about whether he was telling me about these stones was real. I just wanted to know whether he was telling me the true period, even though I knew, because I can feel and I can see, you know what I mean, that this individual was telling the truth. And he was a genius. He was a resident genius amongst us. So fast forward, I get into the brother that came in here earlier that he said, you know, used to bring Dr. Blair in. Yes, please. Can we get a little quiet, y'all? Shabazz was the first person that I bought a VHS from of Dr. Phil Valentine. Right? No. There was a brother named Infinity. He was a Ross on Flatbush. There was 2 VHS that changed my life. Right? One of them was X-Men Decoded, and the other one was the African Origins of Christianity. That's the one that I bought from Shabazz. And Ashra Kwesi did that. Phil Valentine did X-Men Decoded. I bought that on Flatbush Avenue. So both of those VHSs changed my life, right? Shook me off the fence. Where I was just like, look, there's something else going on in the world that I need to know about. The streets, I'm finished with that. I need to enroll in college, right? The metaphysical college or what have you. And I started attending all of Valentine's lectures. And I was the only one in there under the age of 40 at the time. So, and the class would be half the size of this. So it would hurt me, because I'm like, look, listen to this information. This is futuristic. But he's not talking to the future, right? These elders are not going to be able to do what needs to be done with this information to edify his teaching. You understand what I'm saying? To take it to the next level, or to teach it to the, explain it to the babies, or to take the information and transform it into the pellets that you need to feed the people who probably can't swallow steak. because you talking about 11-hour lectures that's going all the way up here. And because I had comic book background, science fiction background, and a wide imagination, and just because I was open to receiving, I could follow what he was saying, but I'm like, the homies ain't gonna listen to this. You know what I'm saying? But nonetheless, he had a wish of his, right? Yo, I want to bring this information to the youth. So I had a hip hop newspaper at the time called Four Corners, and we had hired a writer named Black Dot. You know our brother Black Dot. Please give it up for Black Dot. So I was able to share my enthusiasm with somebody who had a shared interest, who also was looking at the VHSs, and he was like, look, we can make something happen. So we created what was called a Metaphysical Underground. It was a lecture circuit that started right here, right on Fulton, down at on Class, and there was a
Chocolate Brown
Cafe, and then the Fulton Senior Citizen Center, and ultimately became the LIU. So once we created this circuit, now we were able to bring in different lecturers, right? Peace. And not before long, we were able to bring in Dr. Delbert Blair. Okay? Now, when I had the opportunity to meet this elder and to listen to this elder, you know, it was already like I was looking at myself for 50-something years, you know what I'm saying, into my future. So there was a commonality. Once again, I'm saying all this to explain to people the whole aspect of commonality. You know, once we find things that are common and the people that we're learning from, it's that much more easier to learn. It's that much more easier to trust. It's that much more easier to sit around, right? Because oftentimes people are like, I ain't got no time for this. Get to your point. You know, we had to sit through 5-6 hours till we got to the point. But it was worth it, because you're on your journey, you're searching, you're looking, and where else you got to go at the end of the day? You gonna get this from where else? He was the only one on the planet. So when he came with his information, there was nobody talking like that. Was nobody talking like that, right? And I'm a little livid because this is the talk right now, right? Dr. Blair was at least 15 to 20 years ahead of his time. Okay? We're talking about in 2012 when people were allegedly ready for the ascension. Nobody was talking like Blair in 2012. They wasn't ready for Blair back then. You understand? Back then they was not ready for no Dr. Delbert Blair. Especially people that look like us that come from our community. Right. You understand? But now, and like I said, I'm speaking like this because the brother's not here to see the fruits of his labors. The brother's not here to see what has manifested and blossomed into ultimately what might become $1 trillion industry. Right? Because quantum physics, like the sister said, which is metaphysics, the alien phenomena, right? All of these things at some point are going to matriculate into, this is going to be it. This is going to be the only conversation. When you start seeing the military fly them zero gravity crafts outside and everything changes, you understand? When you start seeing this stuff in a year or two, you know, everything is going to change. The dynamics are going to change and things are going to flip over and certain things will be obsolete. And he prepared us for a future, you know, that we can not only have a foothold in, but getting with the community scientists like the Hank Rising Sons. You know what I'm saying? That you can not only have a foothold, you can be 10, 15, 20 years ahead of the game as well. The Lester Lovins of the world. The information, the Abikus of the world. A brother who came that had information dealing with utilizing water for gasoline technology.
Facts.
Right? They shut doors on him when he came with this information. These are the geniuses that I'm speaking up for the nerds.
He's in South Carolina now. He's South
Carolina. Yeah. Because for whatever reason, right? When the community is into the celebrity of the moment, okay? and they can only deal with one at a time. Everybody else gets shut out.
They suffer.
They suffer, or they get pushed to the side.
That's a fact.
So I'm a little bit livid, like I said, because the brother spoke about ascension protocol, and I know that he didn't ascend in the way in which he felt most comfortable at a time that he felt most comfortable. It hurt, and it still hurts. You understand? So the brother is a legend beyond, like, his true genius and his worth is going to be known 20, 30, 50 years from now. He will be studied amongst the greats. You understand? But we're utilizing the moment and the now and the present to just bring this information to you to say, look, don't sit on the sidelines. Deep dive into the information. It's available and it's still there. You know? It's available and it's still there. Dig a little bit deeper into who this brother was, what he meant, what his stories and his narratives were. Listen to him in the dark.
Right?
Listen with your heart to weigh it, to be like, yo, is he spinning me or what? You know what I mean? Is he spinning me or is he telling the truth? Because I would sit there and I would look at this man and be like, look, this is the most honest man that I've ever seen. Like, he might have the most outlandish stories. You dig what I'm saying? But he's the most honest man that I have ever met.
That's right.
In terms of his genuineness, in terms of, you know, just his passion and love for the people.
That's right.
He didn't have to be up there doing what he did.
Nope.
But he had a burning desire to say, look, I'm not going to sit here and wallow in fear, right? I'm going to step from. He knew he was a target, and he still stuck his chest out.
That's right.
So we at least owe it to this man to hold him up,
That's right.
to edify his name, to not allow, people to attack his platforms or his information. Even like some of the stuff that he said is still ahead of the people. They have not caught up yet.
Yep.
But I wish that I had brought the litany of articles to show you all of the confirmations that he spoke about for the last 10 or 15 years. All of that stuff has been validated by mainstream news.
Yep.
Front page news says what? Oh, the Air Force say UFOs is real. We got pictures, we got video. We there's nothing,
They redeveloping the Star Wars plan.
Come on. Yeah, he's going into my spot.
Oh, he's some chicken.
He's going into my lecture.
There's nothing going on over here.
Take him off. Come on.
We just
It's enough.
flying down UFOs. There's nothing going
I
on
ain't
down
going
here
far.
for you to be concerned with. You dig what I'm saying? So, what the brother had brought forward to us, was a plethora of things. There was a few things that I held on to that stuck with me, that I furthered in my research. One of them would be the diodes. That was very much of an interest to me, you know what I'm saying? Because I knew what it was hitting for. I was like, yo, this is necessary, this is needed. These cell phones, they're not telling people the truth about these cell phones. I did the research. You understand? Just like the brother Hank was saying, yes, we are carrying things in our pockets that are, killing our sperm. And the women are, putting the phones in their bras, what have you. They have exponential research studies about the rise in breast cancer. You know what I'm saying? But the babies is really the ones. The babies, because they have tablet toddlers out here. Baby got 2 phones and a tablet. Then they got tween tablets, toddlers. Then they have teen tablets. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about the babies is going, like the threat used to be what? The babies being raised on GMO food from the age of 0 up. You know what I'm saying? That's not the threat no more. The baby's being raised on GMO food and the baby got a tablet and 2 phones.
Right?
You dig what I'm saying? Baby got a tablet and 2 phones with a smart TV in their room. And everything is on when they up. And everything is on when they go to sleep. And everything is on when they get up. Right? I done been around some of these situations, so I know. So there's a tide that's coming. You know what I'm saying? It's not even here yet. There's a tide that's coming. You feel me? Where there's going to be a ramp. And we not, like 5G ain't even here yet. This is all the stuff that has been accumulative through the times that we've been here dealing with 2G all the way up until now. 5G is a whole nother narrative and a whole nother story, and I'm sure that our brother Ross Spin is going to get into that. But what I also, walked away with from the brother to say, this is the part that I want to contribute to continue to uphold the legacy, has been the monotonic goal. You know what I'm saying? And, I visited the brother's facility in Chicago. This was 2012. I think I had did a 44 lecture out there, and the brother invited us out to the home, and he had his entire facility. So shout out to Meta Center, and please check them out first, okay? Check them out for the diodes, check them out for the gold, check them out for everything that they have to offer. He has books available and DVDs and all of that stuff. You know what I'm saying? Come and check me out second if you need to, all right? Goldwater.com. Other than that, I want to say peace, love, and light. I want to hold up our brother as far as possible. You know, he belongs amongst the canopy and the constellation of stars, the brightest amongst them, all right? Peace, love, and light. We love you, Dr. Blair.
Give Brother Blueprint a well-deserved round of applause. Online, we're here. We're here. Give it a round of applause for the online people out there. The Meta Center, everybody that's tuning in. Thank you very much for supporting. You know I got to bring on the other half. Now, both of them, they could be Mr. Longwind, but they got a little time constraint this time. Y'all know them.
Why you
Them
set up
family.
right there?
They like
set up
Dr.
right
Sebi.
there.
They just like Dr. Sebi. You know how to keep it going.
I only got 2 pieces of
And
left.
what's so interesting about that is
Where's the
that
chocolate?
Dr. Blair loved those two.
It's
They really did love those. As a matter of fact, I have pictures with both you and Dr. Blair, both of y'all with Dr. Blair. Both hair short, they're short hair, and they look like polo models, but come on back over.
Ah, man.
You know, we did a radio show called No Ledge Radio for 7 years on Blog Talk. And if not every episode, every other episode, we will go to the phone lines and open up the phone lines, and Blair's there. Caller from the 773 that peace of blessings. What was it?
Right.
Oh, it's just me, it's Dr. Blair. Yeah, greater blessings. I'm just here, I'm just sitting, I'm just listening, I'm amazed, thank you guys. And you know, he was very appreciative of where we were taking it, and the fact that I felt that, he was somewhat rested in his heart to know that somebody was still carrying, the mantle, and he would tune in because he would listen and he would still learn at his, and that was the most gratifying thing ever for me. You know what I'm saying? That my master teacher will be a student in the classroom that we furnish to afford a stage available for people like him. Like, that's full circle. That's the illest thing ever. You understand? So, I mean, it's just beyond a gratitude to even be here to speak on him, you know what I mean? And use whatever little influence do we have to direct the youth towards saying, look, deep dive into Delbert Blair, okay? He is the man of the future. 2020 is around the corner. He prepared us for that 10, 15, 20 years ago. We would be 20 years ahead of the game if, we paid attention to him like they did to some of these clown-ass teachers.
Okay. Fully noted. And I did it because we're going into 2020, and because Dr. Blair is born on the 13th, he's a 4. So that means his, and 44. So that's right, 44th day of the year. That's right. He's born on the 44th day of the year. He's born February 13th. And our beloved brother, his energy is going to rise in the 4 years. Watch what I'm saying. His energy is going to rise in the 4 years because of all the things that's about to take place. And Delbert Blair was, I know the Meta Center is watching. Delbert Blair was one of those people that will tell you the truth, and if you don't know it,
I'm getting that chocolate though. Okay.
And he was the person, I heard Les Brown say this, and he's another Aquarian also, but Les Brown says, think like a child, but plan like an adult. Think like a child, but plan like an adult. Keep your life going. always go back. And Delbert Blair loved to think. That's why he always wanted to learn. He always wanted to soak in information. That's why he never called himself a master teacher. Never. We gave him the master teacher. We gave him the grand master. He never called himself a master teacher because he's always learning. Like Lloyd Strayhorn, another query. He don't call himself a master numerologist because he's always learning. Me, I don't call myself a master numerologist because I'm always learning. We are all going to be students. We're all students. And once you think you know too much, you really don't know a goddamn thing. All those people that think they know something, they don't know nothing at the end of the day. Just this amount. You know, so I'm never going to be that master teacher and that master to know. I'm a student, a master student, learning constantly. So the next one on, I got to bring the other half of the pillar. My brother. He ain't even dressed in red today. And he wasn't dressed in, he's dressed in blue. My man, Red Pill, give him a round of applause, man. Give Red Pill a round of applause. You gonna have somebody hold your phone?
Yes, brother.
All right, good. These brothers here.
Hold my phone for you.
The other half.
Thank you, thank you. Y'all give Blue Pill a hand, please. Give that man a hand. Indeed. Yes, indeed. I'm not gonna be too long, right? I'm gonna basically hit on what Blue Pill was hitting on and make a few points about the importance of our elders, okay? We've lost, in the last 10 years, if you were to put a valuation, we lost about $1 trillion worth of teachers. All of our doctors are gone. Dr. Sabi is gone. He's an ancestor. He's still here in memory, right? But he's not here. Dr. Ben is gone. Dr. Delbert Blair is gone. Dr. Francis Cress Wilson is gone.
Dr. Henry Clark.
Dr. Henry Clark is gone. While we're all in these classrooms learning, right? Some of us benefiting off, some others copying the information, some others cloning the information without giving credit to the source. Because we are in this quote-unquote internet era or this social media era that did not exist in the year 2000 when Blue Pill said that he heard about Dr. Blair. I heard about Dr. Blair. I thought that nigga was crazy. I thought Blue Pill was crazy. Talking about that, you heard he said. I was like, what's going on? You saw what? Outside of where? He couldn't come to me with the information because I used to put up humongous shields, right? Because I was so comfortable in the Negro existence, right? That I was not ready to let go of it. And to listen to him, I had to let go of that reality. Okay? But brothers like him, Dr. Phil Valentine, when I put my guards down and allowed them to hit me upside the head, I walked out of the lectures with migraines. Adika knows. Remember the migraine behind the left eye? The 10-hour lectures was short-circuiting whatever chip we had in our brains. I call it the monkey chip in the monkey brain. When somebody is deprogramming you, you're going to have a migraine because it's going to melt down. It's going to decalcify your pineal. It's going to melt down whatever was put in there by the church, by the Easter Bunny, by Santa Claus. I'm talking about all of these fantasies that we were fed when we were babies. But when somebody comes along with real information, if it's fantastic, we think it's fantasy. Because we were never trained by our teachers. Our kindergarten teacher did not tell us that somebody that looks like you is qualified to teach you. We were not ready for that. Because what was inserted in those lessons were, you came over here on a ship. You was in chains. We all gonna watch Roots, turn the lights down. You know what I mean? That's all programming.
Right.
Okay? That was putting you into a mental prison. And you could see the fallout in the streets. I almost cried when the elder was up here talking because I could feel her pain.
Fact.
This is an elder who comes from a time period where she said that the elders didn't even curse in front of the children, but she had to see the crack era. She had to see the children of the quote-unquote, the elders gave birth to children, right? And the children gave birth to children. And then the children started selling crack, and they were getting sexual favors from the elders and the parents. That's what the elders had to witness. Can you blame her for being a little bit of bitter to what she has? Because she said that she's in the streets witnessing the timeline or the scroll of black madness scrolling by every day. I'm in Harlem. I'm out there in front of, the only thing blocking me from the debauchery is a table. You know what I'm talking about? If I didn't have a table, I'd be swept up in a storm of ignorance and debauchery because our people are devolving at a fast pace. At the same time, we're evolving at a fast pace.
Right.
When you rise, right? When your consciousness rises, you are going to witness the fall faster. Because it's a gift and a curse. So your third eye, is open, right? You know, you lifted up the pineal, the shades is open. But the bad part about that, or the scary part about that, is that they live, right?
Right.
Who saw the movie They Live?
Hey.
Right? That's required watching for everybody that's in this.
Right.
What happened with They Live is he put on the glasses and he was able to see everything around him. That his third eye, when it was calcified, he wasn't able to see it. So he was seeing aliens and all kind of stuff. So when you wake up, when you were walking around and you were vibrating on a certain level, right? When you were on a certain frequency, you were not aware that things were going on around you. It's almost like the fish inside of the fish tank. He only know that he in the water when you take him out. He's like, oh, what the hell? So now you're removed from the madness. So now it's in HD. And if you're not grounded, and if you're not centered, and if you don't have the stones, if you don't have the proper kind of protection, you might lose it. Right? Walking around these streets right now is some brothers and sisters of a conscious persuasion who woke up too fast. And they got burnt out. You know what I'm talking about? 18 hours on YouTube straight with no breaks. You know what I mean? But at the same time eating McDonald's. At the same time eating all of these GMO foods. At the same time sipping from the faucet. You know what I mean? It's a deadly combination. And there are people out here with mental health issues because they couldn't take the truth. When the veil got lifted, they were not prepared to see what it is that they saw. Okay?
Facts.
We could have lost Blue Pill when he saw those lights. But he was okay. He had CMOS. You know what I mean? Dr. Sadie helped him. You know? But because we are, the sister said that we're premium. Those of us that are awake amongst our race. And that's not to sound like an elitist. Just to acknowledge who you are and who got you here. We didn't get here by ourselves. We got here because of the sacrifice and the teachings of our master teachers, regardless if they call themselves that or not. The brother, where's he at? Where's the brother at? During the break, brother came up to me and said, Brother Red Pill, you brother saved my life. Oh, there the guy, he got the hoodie on, I don't even notice him. The brother said, the message that we sent out on the internet reached him all the way in the DMV, right? Where there's no consciousness in his area, and it's almost like, you know how they got food deserts, right? Well, it's a jewel desert. Ain't no jewels being dropped. So, the DMV, DC, Maryland, Virginia, right? So, he said that as a result of the information that we were disseminating and he picked it up, he began to live out the information because he was able to see an example like that on the internet, right? The same way that brothers like us, we were able to see Mama Pill, Dr. Sabi, Sister Ma'a, all of them struggling. Because nobody talks about the struggle. They just praising Dr. Sabi for his food list and everything, but nobody saw the struggle when it was going down. When you were ridiculed for having the audacity to be a vegan. It's cool now because it's gourmet. It's all in Whole Foods. It tastes good. Talk about when it didn't taste good. You know what I'm talking about? Talk about when there was no agave syrup in the sea moss. It was just straight sea moss. It tastes like seaweed. There was no Whole Foods. There was no trader. It wasn't gourmet. It wasn't no adobo seasoning. They was just giving you steamed vegetables and you had to eat it. And they called it rabbit food and they made fun of you. You losing weight. You got the what you got? The bug?
The bug?
You know how they got the slim waist, the slim tummy tea? Like you couldn't do that because they would make fun of you.
Fact.
That wasn't that long ago.
Traumatizing.
So people got traumatized by trying to be healthy. You know what I mean? So a lot of people heavy lifted and carried the weight so y'all don't have to do it anymore, right? So when the brother said, he was like, yo, I started living it out, huh?
You're right, it's very easy now.
It's mad easy. It's only that because of Dr. Delbert Blair, because Dr. Ben had to leave this planet, not how he, you know what I mean? I don't think he left the way that he wanted to leave. This is overdue. This whole tribute and everything,
Yes.
this is overdue. This is something that needs to be done in every single state where more than 50 people are awake at. Especially with the youth, because they are being led in the wrong direction, and I don't blame them. The internet is non-regulated. You know what I'm talking about? Any dude with a Wi-Fi connection, right, and a webcam could hop online with a bunch of notes that he done plagiarized and become your new master teacher, without standing in front of the people, without doing any work. He just need 5 subscribers and he's on. That's how it's going down. So the brother said, as a result of the information, I started waking up. I went to Kemet and it hit me. I'm in Egypt and I'm like, oh, sweat. He's seeing the greatness. He's seeing it. He's not just, you could read a book about mountain climbing and then your ass climbs a mountain and it's completely different. It hit differently. So you in Kemet surrounded by the artifacts, the grid is alive, you're feeling everything going through your body, it hit differently. So he's like, yo, I want to give thanks. I'm like, yo, I'm good because I feel you, but it doesn't register because I'm here because of my elders. You dig what I'm saying? And I told them the same thing when I saw them. And they was like, whatever, it's all, thank you, but the book is $20, you know what I'm saying? And the DVD is $10, you know, not to say that they wasn't, but they weren't necessarily there for the adulation. They were there for the work. And they were like, yo, show me. You dig what I'm saying? If it was really like that, show me. And like Blue Pill said, whenever we would go into our call queue during our show, and Dr. Delbert Blair was one of the hundreds in the audience just listening, it was surreal because it's like, yo, you woke me up. Like you were my savior. I don't think the elders understand the conditions that my generation had to go through to get here. That's why it ain't a bunch of us in here because we not even here. We missing. A lot of us. You did what we burnt out. We're gone. We're finito. You know what I'm saying? Some of us is in mental institutions. Some of us are in the Bing somewhere. in another state. You know what I mean? You know how New Yorkers are. We all over America locked up. You dig what I'm saying? We were chasing the dreams of the Benjamins. We was chasing Puffy's dream of wearing shiny suits. You know what I mean? We was chasing that hip hop dream, and we got jammed up. So when Sabi came along, when Dr. Phil came along, when Dr. Francis came along, all of these elders came. They already came. With Farrakhan, we used to go on missions listening to Farrakhan in the car.
Yep.
Pretty much. You know what I'm saying? To keep us level-headed. But it was this community. I mean, not to say that Farrakhan wasn't helping out, but when the conscious community was formed, it has a bad name nowadays because people bastardized it. You dig what I'm saying? They dragged it through the mud. They devalued it. But the importance of this community is that it saves lives. And it helps people turn into gods and goddesses walking on this planet. We are some of the most important people in our race right now. And that's not being egotistical. That's just being blatantly honest. Point out what other group is really out here. Is it Black Lives Matter? No. Is it Candace Owens? You know what I'm saying? Like, is it Kanye in his congregation? No offense. But we're talking about people who adhere to the tenets of the times. This is the age of information. So everything else is irrelevant to me. If it ain't about information, nigga, you're out of time. You're just regurgitating some stuff from the 80s and the 90s. Everything that the hip-hop generation is going through is a regurgitation from some shit that we was manifesting in the tunnel era. In 93, 94, I was watching a Wu-Tang documentary last night. What's different than what the youth are doing today? They have not evolved past what we were doing in the nightclubs back in the days. They wearing the same designers, Gucci, Fendi, Burberry, Louis, Versace. I mean, just say all of the damn Romans with broken wrists, right? Same sneakers. They're regurgitating and retroing the old sneakers. It's a loop. It's a cycle. It's a vicious cycle that big business, anybody that's into business, they know that nostalgia is big because the 90s babies, the ones people who I grew up with, their children are taller than me. Like they got grown ass children that look older than us. So they're feeding the nostalgia era, right? And then they know that Negroes are going through their fifth childhood, so they're feeding them still. They still want to be 18. I'm 43. I know I don't look it, but we'll talk about that later. But, they're feeding the nostalgia. There's people my age who I left in the club 20 years ago that's still standing on somebody's sofa. Still there. They still talking about they got a section and bottles. I'm like, family, I'm about to hit you with a bottle if you don't grow up and realize, make room for your son. Like your son trying to stand on that couch. You still standing on the couch. So if you're not adhering to the times of leveling up, this is an ascension time. This is time to prepare to leave here. Dr. Blair, when you listen to his lectures, and by the way, everybody who got a cell phone, I'm pleased. Go to Google and put Know the Ledge Radio, Dr. Delbert Blair. That's your archives. You'll get about 20 premium episodes of unadulterated, 3 hours minimum, unadulterated consciousness before it got dumbed down.
Say it one more time.
Know the Ledge Radio, like knowledge. Know the Ledge Radio. You got, where's Cafunia at? You got the best of Cafunia on there. You know what I mean? We got everybody. We got Ross Ben on there. We got Sabi on there. We got Valentine. We got Dr. Francis Crest. We have the legends. But one of our most complete the complete archives would be our shows with Dr. Delbert Blair because he came on there a lot, right? And the information is timeless. So you'll hear him in 2011, 12, 13, giving up information that's viable today, like Blue Pill said. And I don't want to cut into your lecture, Ross, Ben, because I know you're going to touch on this, but they just inaugurated the newest branch of the military. It's called Space Command.
Renewing of Star Wars again. Remixing Star Wars.
You know how they got the Navy and the Air Force and the Marines? Well, there's a new branch called Space Command. And they already did the disclosure. It's just when they disclosed that the UFOs are real, we had our attention on R. Kelly and somebody else. You feel me? Or Jay-Z and the NFL. But they disclosed that the UFOs are real. So that makes Dr. Delbert Blair a prophet. So all of the doctors, going back to the icons, and I'm saying this, these are two things that have to happen in this community. One, there has to be a documentary done to show the quote-unquote 100 years of consciousness. It started with Garvey, it started with Drew Ali, and it started with Elijah Muhammad in 1920. It's a 100-year dynasty going up into where we're at today, because the youth don't, if you're not on Hidden Colors, they don't know you.
Facts.
They don't know Bobby Hemmett because he's not on Hidden Colors, or he's not on Sinetta TV. You understand? We got to tell the story. Those who were there. We got to tell the story. And another thing that has to happen, we need museums. I'm not talking about the Natural History Museum. I'm talking about a house with a TV screen like this, with the books of the elders, with the teachers of the elders, with some tablets that you could, of course with a diode on it, with some tablets that you could take your little ones. The same way that you go and take them to see a mouse in Florida, right? Niggas running from mouses in Brooklyn to go to see the mouse in Florida, right? The same way that you're going to take them to Disney World, the same way that you'll inaugurate them into this westernized European fantasy industry, you could take them on the road somewhere down south and pull up to a house and bring them into a museum, a makeshift museum where consciousness is housed. You don't even got to put the new people in there. Just put all of the elders that are not here with us anymore. You feel me? And make that an experience. That needs to happen. Houses are cheap out of town. We ain't talking about New York right now because, you know, but if we have somebody who will give up, who will sign over their house when they make, you know, when they either make transition or whatever for that cause, that's something that is needed. Because I promise you, in 30 years from now, these same names that I mentioned, they're going to spill over and they're going to be mass adopted in the hood. They're going to be talking about them the same way that they talking about Sabi. So let's get ahead of that. Or if it's not the hood, it's going to be the Weinsteins and the Spielbergs and all of them who do what? They figure out how to monetize your culture and sell it back to you. Don't let it happen. All right? And with that being said, love and light to the family. Thank you for your time and attention. Peace.
Red is the soldier. Red is the soldier. These are two soldiers right here, man. Two soldiers.
Oh, thank you.
Give another round of applause to the red and the blue pill.